I know how this sounds. I've already lost friends over it, and I haven't left my apartment in 12 days. I'm not asking for sympathy. I just want someone to believe me before I forget who I am. Or worse, before something else remembers. It started a little after 2 a.m. on a Thursday. I was sitting in the living room, unable to sleep again. Insomnia has a way of reshaping the walls around you, stretching time into an uncomfortable fabric that clings and suffocates. The apartment felt like it was shrinking in on itself, pulsing slightly with each breath I took. I had the lights off, no sound, just the orange haze from the street lamp, slicing my living room into uneven shards of light and shadow. I was scrolling through nothing, eyes half closed, when I saw movement outside the window. At first, I thought it was a reflection, maybe a trick of light or something in the glass. But no, outside, walking along the path that cut past my building, I saw someone pass by. Same walk, same hoodie, same slight limp I picked up last fall. My brain tried to convince me it was coincidence. My gut knew better. I didn't move. I watched as the figure disappeared behind the hedge, never once glancing toward the window. There was no noise, no footsteps on the sidewalk, just the soft impression of something familiar, something terribly wrong. The next night, I waited. I turned off every light, sat near the window with the blinds cracked just wide enough. I checked the time every few seconds. At exactly 2:43 a.m., it happened again. The same figure, same gait, same clothes. This time, the body moved slower, more deliberate. It was like watching a video of myself in slow motion, except the air felt colder and my mouth filled with the taste of copper. Night after night, it returned. It never knocked. It never looked at me. But with each passing visit, it seemed more focused, more attuned to the presence inside the window. I started to dread the clock ticking toward that minute, the moment when the air would shift and everything else would fall silent. That hush before something wrong enters the frame. I set up a camera once. The footage glitched. At 2:43 a.m., the image tore itself apart. Colors warped, pixels screamed, and the sound turned into a deep mechanical groan like metal collapsing inward. When I tried again the next night, the footage never showed the street. The angle had shifted toward my couch. At the exact time, the recording froze on a single frame. Me, sitting and staring at nothing, with a blurred figure in the background. The figure didn't match me anymore. Its face was longer. The clothes looked dry but stiff, like they'd been pulled from a flooded basement. I stopped filming. It didn't matter. Something had already crossed over. I began finding objects out of place. My toothbrush was damp hours after I last used it. One of my socks, stretched wide, lay beside the bed. A spoon was sitting in the sink, filled with cereal I never poured. Small changes at first, easy to dismiss. Then I found a notebook with my handwriting I didn't recognize. It was filled with sentences I'd never written, all variations of the same message. You saw it. Now it sees you. Eventually, I stopped watching through the window. I knew the shape would come whether I looked or not. I blacked out the glass with heavy trash bags and duct tape. Still, at 2:43 a.m., the air would shift. The walls would stiffen. The refrigerator would stop humming. The house itself held its breath. I thought that would be enough. Then it started knocking. 3 soft, even knocks on the glass. Never urgent, never violent, just patient. I would lie still, counting each breath, hoping they would stop. They never did. The knocks continued every night. Sometimes on the window, sometimes on the front door, sometimes from behind the closet. I never opened it. But I started noticing things in the mirror. Not reflections, inconsistencies. I would brush my teeth and see the wrong expression. My reflection's eyes would linger a second too long after I turned away. My face in the dark screen of the television looked distorted, pulled slightly downward as if something inside was pressing against it. It escalated in small degrees, but I understood what it meant. It wasn't just mimicking me, it was learning, adapting. It had grown from an echo to a placeholder. And every night, at 2:43 a.m., I could feel it standing just behind me, watching the back of my skull with that careful, hollow awareness. Now, things are changing faster. I wake up in different clothes. My voice sometimes feels like it comes from outside my own chest. I caught myself walking down the hallway in the reflection of a turned-off monitor while I sat frozen at my desk. I haven't told anyone because I don't think I'm the original anymore. Maybe I never was. The clocks are unreliable now. My phone alarm goes off at 2:43 even when it's off. I hear tapping from under the bed. And I think soon, it won't need to knock. This morning, the mirror wouldn't show anything at all. Not blackness, not static. Just absence. I stood in front of it, felt the floorboards under my feet, watched the steam rise from my skin, but there was no image. Not even the wall behind me. Just a hollow rectangle, like a doorway into nothing. I backed away, but the shape of that void followed me. Every screen, every reflective surface, now showed a blank where I should have been. Not erased. Just not rendered. Somewhere along the line, something crossed over. I had marked the calendar obsessively. Red X after red X, every day sealed with the certainty of survival. But now, even the calendar lies. Days blur together. Sometimes I find a week already crossed out, though I don't remember holding the pen. Other times the dates move. I'll go to sleep on the 19th and wake on the 6th. Time is beginning to ripple. Or maybe it's folding around me. Last night I woke up on the ceiling. Not a metaphor. I opened my eyes and stared down on my body, still asleep in bed. My perspective floated upside down, silent, pressed against the plaster like some discarded thought stuck between floors. I watched myself twitch and murmur. I knew something else was breathing through my lungs. I blinked. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my body. But something stayed behind. Since then, my heartbeat stutters like it's syncing with something foreign. The rhythm skips, corrects, skips again. Sometimes, I feel limbs that aren't mine, phantom limbs, moving out of sync, like trailing after images from another version of me that's still walking loops outside my building. I hear footsteps from within the walls. Not rats, not pipes. Bare feet dragging slowly across drywall. Every time I check, nothing's there. Every time I don't, the noise gets closer. The other night, I found photographs in the sink, printed on thick paper, water-warped but legible. Images of me sleeping, eating, staring into space. All from angles inside the apartment that should have been impossible. One photo showed me sitting at the table, smiling. But I don't remember smiling. I don't remember that shirt. And behind me, reflected faintly in the glass of a picture frame, was another face. The same as mine, but peeled back jaw slack, lips too wide, eyes like polished voids. The face didn't blink. I threw the photos away, but they returned, taped to the walls, arranged in neat rows above my bed. Like an altar, like a claim. Now I understand what the thing was doing all along. It was rehearsing. It walked past my window to measure. It knocked to announce. It mirrored my habits, copied my routines, filled the space I abandoned. Every time I ignored the knock, looked too long at the reflection, doubted my own memories, I gave it permission. It knows how I eat, how I move, how I breathe, and it's refining the parts I left behind. Soon, there won't be anything left of me that hasn't been copied. Sometimes, I see myself standing in the hallway, motionless. When I approach, the figure vanishes. But when I check the room I'd left, the bed is still warm. The smell of my shampoo lingers. I never hear doors open or close. It just is wherever I'm not. The apartment hums with unfamiliar silence. It isn't empty, but I don't know who lives here anymore. I pass mirrors, turned to face the wall. My own handwriting appears in places I don't remember reaching. Yesterday, I found a note inside my pillowcase, tucked into a plastic bag, as if trying to protect itself from me. Stop watching. Let it finish. I can't tell if I wrote it. The knocking doesn't come from the window anymore. It comes from inside the apartment. From the closet, from behind the fridge, from inside the bathroom mirror. 3 knocks, every time. Even, measured, polite, like a guest waiting patiently to be acknowledged. The last time it knocked, I didn't freeze. I didn't run. I just stood there, numb, and listened. No movement followed. No sound. But the next morning, all the locks were undone. My laptop was open. This document had been edited. Lines I didn't write appeared. One of them reads, "You're doing well. I think I'm not alone in here anymore. And I think the thing doesn't want to replace me. It wants me to become it." To erase the boundary entirely. To join the echo. Tonight, I won't hide. I won't close the blinds. I won't set an alarm or place salt around the bed. The thing has already moved in. Maybe it always lived here. Maybe I'm the intruder. Maybe I've just been its reflection from the beginning. The only thing I fear now is the silence that comes after the knock. If it stops knocking, that means I answered.